The power of ignoring. A quiet strength rooted in wisdom. How much of your energy has been wasted in pointless arguments? How many times have you found yourself entangled in conflicts that left you drained, frustrated, and hollow inside? There is a silent power that few truly master, yet it holds the potential to change your life completely. The power of ignoring. But don't confuse this with indifference. This is not apathy. This is wisdom. Because often, the highest form of intelligence is not in proving you're right. It's in choosing not to react at all. The trap of reaction. From an early age, we're conditioned to respond. If someone attacks us, we fight back. If someone challenges us, we defend our position. It seems natural, automatic even. But what if that very reaction is the trap? Consider this. When someone insults you or hurls a spiteful comment your way, are they genuinely seeking your perspective? They want a reaction. They want to know they've unsettled you, stirred your peace, because that gives them power. And every time we respond without awareness, we surrender our energy to someone who doesn't deserve it. Imagine you're sailing peacefully on a boat. Each time someone throws a stone at you, you stop. You bend down, pick up that stone, and throw it back. Now you're no longer sailing. You're just stuck in a loop. That's what reaction does. It slows you, diverts you, and drains your purpose. The ego's need to win. Most of the time, we don't even think. We just react. A harsh word, a jab, and suddenly we're in the heat of battle. Voices raised, hearts racing, trying to prove a point. But ask yourself, what do we really gain? How many arguments end with mutual understanding? How often do two people walk away saying, "Wow, that really brought us closer"? Rarely, because most arguments aren't about truth. They're about ego. The ego doesn't want clarity. It wants victory. It wants to prove superiority. But true strength? It lies in not needing to prove anything at all. A story of silence. There's an old Buddhist tale. A man is insulted in public. Instead of retaliating, he smiles and walks away. A bystander asks, "Why didn't you respond?" The man replies, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to accept it, who does it belong to? The insult, the judgment, the anger, that's their poison. And most of us accept it without hesitation. But we don't have to. We can choose differently." The art of non-reaction. You are not obligated to respond to everything. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. There is great power in restraint. Next time someone tries to provoke you, pause. Watch. Don't give them what they seek. Let silence be your answer. Because the one who does not react holds the true power. Why do we argue so much? Throw a stone into a pond. It ripples for a while, then returns to stillness. It doesn't cling to the disturbance, but we do. We cling, react, hold grudges. Why? Because we confuse disagreement with danger. We feel that if someone doesn't agree with us, our identity is being threatened. So we fight, not for truth, but for validation. And often, we're not even arguing about the topic at hand. We're reacting from pain, insecurity, and unresolved emotions. Someone having a bad day will lash out. Someone feeling inferior may try to bring others down. So what happens when you engage with their chaos? You absorb it. Now their storm becomes yours. What began as a disagreement becomes an emotional battleground. At some point, it's no longer about who's right. It's just about winning. Winning what, though? When the other person was never listening, when nothing changed, when all you gained was exhaustion. What exactly did you win? Freedom through letting go. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises from attachment, and we are deeply attached to our opinions, to being understood, to the belief that if others disagree, we've somehow failed. But what if you let go? What if you stopped needing to be right? What if you allowed others to be wrong without correcting them? Here lies the real freedom. You don't need agreement for your truth to be valid. You don't need applause for your peace to be real. And this is where the power of ignoring reveals its brilliance, not as silence out of weakness, but as silence born from strength. Closing reflection. Learning to ignore is learning to preserve your energy, your clarity, your peace. It's the discipline to walk away, not out of pride, but out of purpose, because not everything is worth your reaction. And when you master the art of non-reaction, you unlock a deeper power, the kind that doesn't shout, but transforms. The art of the non-response. A practice in inner mastery. There is a quiet power in silence, one that most never understand. In a world where everyone rushes to react, to defend, to explain, to justify, the act of not responding becomes a rare and radical form of self-mastery. To ignore is not to surrender. It is to step away from a game no one truly wins. Stillness in the storm for someone standing before you, shouting, trying to pull you into their storm. They wait for you to raise your voice, to retaliate, but instead, you remain still. You do not flinch. You do not change your expression. They grow louder, desperate for a reaction, but you give them none, and eventually their anger dissolves into silence. That is the art of the non-response, the ego's trap. Most people aren't searching for conversation. They're fishing for reactions. They cast emotional bait, hoping you'll bite, hoping you'll stumble, shout, scramble for words. But the best way to win is not to play. This isn't about repressing emotion or pretending not to care. It's about pausing before you engage. It's about asking, does this deserve my energy? Will this lead to understanding? Or is this just a cycle that feeds my ego and drains my peace? Because every time you choose to respond, you are spending your attention. And attention is one of the most valuable things you possess. The strength of stillness. The ego whispers, if you don't respond, you've lost. If you don't defend yourself, they win. But the truth is, there is nothing more powerful than remaining unshaken. Calmness is disarming. Stillness is strength. Buddhist wisdom tells us, the wind can stir the dust, but it cannot move a mountain. When you master the art of the non-response, you become that mountain. Silence speaks volumes. The non-response is not emptiness. It is presence. It's choosing not to waste your voice on those who seek only to disturb your peace. Sometimes, the loudest response is your silence, because when someone tries to provoke you and fails, they realize they have no power over you. They stop trying. The deeper transformation. This practice doesn't just shield you from conflict, it reshapes your mind. You begin to see emotions as waves, passing impulses that arise and fall. Anger, frustration, the urge to defend yourself. All of it fades, if you allow it to pass without clinging. The non-response is not a tactic. It is a path to inner freedom. When you no longer need to explain yourself to be at peace, when you no longer seek validation through reaction, you become unshakable. When to speak, when to stay silent, but silence is not always the answer. Wisdom lies in knowing when to remain silent, and when to speak with intention. Before speaking, ask yourself, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If the answer is no, Perhaps silence serves better. But if the answer is yes, then your words become tools for truth, not weapons of ego. Sometimes silence keeps the peace. Other times, speaking up protects it. When someone crosses a boundary, when harm can be prevented, when your voice can uplift or enlighten, then silence is no longer wise. Then words are needed, the balance that sets you free. Too often, we get it backward. We speak when we should be still. We fall silent when our voice could heal. This imbalance creates inner conflict. And it's not truth that drives it. It's pride. The ego doesn't seek understanding. It seeks domination. But once you release the need to respond to everything, you begin to reclaim your peace. Not every opinion needs a counterpoint. Not every comment deserves your voice. But some words must be spoken, and the wisdom to know the difference, that's where your power lives, where everything changes. When you master the balance between speaking and silence, you stop wasting your energy on meaningless battles. You begin choosing presence over provocation, and with that clarity, you deactivate conflict before it even begins. This isn't just self-control, it's emotional freedom, and it may be the most valuable skill you ever learn. Strategies to avoid conflict. A guide to mastering peace without avoidance. Avoiding conflict doesn't mean giving in. It doesn't mean staying silent out of fear or walking away in defeat. True avoidance is passive. Strategy, on the other hand, is power. Most arguments don't begin with logic. They begin with emotion, frustration, insecurity, anger. When someone lashes out, they're not always speaking from reason. And if you respond with the same energy, a clash becomes inevitable. But if you can break the cycle before it escalates, the argument loses its momentum. Its fire fades. Speak without fueling the fire. One of the most powerful strategies is using language that disarms, not ignites. Instead of reacting, try. I see your point. Let's talk about this later, when we're both calm. I'm not going to argue about this right now. These responses don't signal agreement, but they also don't give the other person more fuel. They say, I hear you, but I will not let you control my state. Don't take it personally. Another key, not everything is about you. Many people argue to vent their own unresolved emotions. You're just the closest target. If you don't take it personally, if you choose not to engage, they lose interest. Because conflict requires a willing participant, even a neutral response, I'm stepping away from this, or total silence, can shift the energy entirely. Use humor and calm as Shields humor, when used wisely, can diffuse tension in seconds. If someone expects you to snap, and instead you remain calm, maybe even smile, you take away their power. You're not making light of the situation. You're simply choosing not to be controlled by their negativity. You're not obligated to engage. Here's the truth. You are never obligated to participate in every conflict someone starts. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to convince anyone. You can walk away from an argument in silence. And that doesn't mean you lost. It means you gained something far more precious. Your peace. The freedom of not getting hooked. Imagine waking up one day and realizing nothing external can disturb your inner peace. No words, no insults, no opinions. You've developed something stronger than armor, a mind that cannot be shaken. This isn't about apathy. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about knowing most conflicts don't deserve my energy. And once you understand that, you become free in a way most people never experience. Taking back control. Most people live as emotional puppets. their peace dangling by the strings of others' behavior. An insult ruins their day. A disagreement feels like a personal attack. Criticism becomes a war. But when you stop reacting, when you stop letting external noise dictate your internal calm, you take back control. Ask yourself, how many of my worst days were bad? Not because of what happened, but because of how I reacted. Detach from meaningless conflict. Once you learn to let go, to detach from arguments that go nowhere, life becomes lighter. You see clearly, most of what once upset you was never truly important. You stop needing to prove yourself. You stop carrying burdens that were never yours. This isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming selective. You begin asking, does this deserve my response? And most of the time, the answer is no. Letting go of the need to be right Buddhism teaches, suffering arises from attachment. And one of the deepest attachments is the need to be right, the need to be understood, the need to defend your views. But once you detach from that need, once you realize that your peace is more valuable than being right, you unlock a new level of freedom. You no longer waste time explaining yourself to those who don't want to understand. You stop getting pulled into battles that don't even matter. Setting boundaries through stillness. This doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you respond with intention, not reaction. You set your boundaries not by shouting, but by standing firm in calm, because nothing confuses and disarms an aggressor more than someone who refuses to engage, attracting a new energy. And here's the shift. When you master this art, people around you notice. Those who used to provoke you stop trying. Those who argued with you lose interest. They can no longer pull you into their chaos. And gradually, you start attracting a different kind of energy, one that matches the peace you've cultivated within, the peace that cannot be faked. This is a peace that cannot be faked. It cannot be borrowed. It comes from knowing that nothing external can take away what's inside you. It is not dependent on validation or being right or having the last word. It is freedom. And once you experience it, you'll never want to live without it. The final wisdom. So the next time someone tries to drag you into their storm, don't fight it. Don't get pulled in. Just smile. Stay still. Let them exhaust themselves. Let their storm pass. Like wind through the trees. Because when you stop giving your attention to what doesn't deserve it, you begin gaining something far more valuable: your peace. How to cultivate an unshakable mind. Attention is just the first step. But the real transformation begins when you train your mind to such strength that you no longer need to remind yourself to ignore. You don't just resist reacting. You stop perceiving certain provocations as meaningful at all. The noise around you, it doesn't just affect you less, it ceases to be noise altogether. But how do you reach that state? Understanding the theory is not enough. You have to train your mind daily, just like you would train your body if you wanted strength, resilience, and balance. Emotional stability is not a gift some are born with. It is a skill. And like any skill, it demands practice and dedication. One of the first steps: observe your mind without judgment. Every time you feel the urge to argue, to justify, to defend, pause. Don't focus on the external situation. Focus on what's happening inside you. What emotion is arising? Where is this need to respond coming from? Is it ego, insecurity, the fear of seeming weak? Identifying the root of your reaction is far more powerful than forcing yourself to suppress it. Understanding why something affects you is the key to dissolving its hold. Another powerful practice is detachment. Buddhism teaches us that nothing is permanent, not criticism, not conflict, not even identity. What bothers you today? Will it still matter in a year? In a month? Ask yourself, will this be important a year from now? If the answer is no, why give it so much weight today? Meditation is also essential. You don't need hours of silence, just a few minutes a day. Focus on your breath. Bring your attention to the present moment. Training yourself not to react to every intrusive thought is the same as training yourself not to react to every external trigger. If you can calm the storm within, no storm outside can shake you. It's also vital to surround yourself with peace. You may not control your environment completely, but you can control what you consume, who you spend time with, and what you give importance to. If you're constantly exposed to arguments, negativity, and chaos, your mind will absorb that. But if you choose calmness, meaningful conversations, moments of silence, peace becomes your natural state. And here's something often forgotten. Learn to see life with humor. Not everything is so serious. Many things upset us only because we assign them too much importance. But when you learn to laugh at certain conflicts, to see them as an unnecessary drama you don't need to star in, life becomes lighter. This isn't about escaping reality. It's about refusing to carry burdens that were never yours to begin with. Over time, you'll notice that provocations stop affecting you, not because you're trying to ignore them, but because they simply no longer resonate. There's nothing inside you that answers the call of conflict. And that is the moment you become unshakable, because in the end, it's not about avoiding arguments or criticism. It's about living with a peace that depends on nothing and no one. It's about waking up each morning knowing that nothing outside of you has the power to take away your calm. It's about walking through the world, unafraid of opinions, unmoved by judgment, untouched by noise. That's when you realize a truth. Freedom isn't about controlling the outside world. It's about mastering the world within. And that is the greatest power any human being can attain. So imagine the peace you could experience if nothing external had the power to shake your inner balance, not because you're suppressing your emotions, not because you don't care, but because you've cultivated something far more powerful. Control over where you place your attention. Most people go through life reacting to everything, arguing over things that don't matter, wasting time proving a point, getting emotionally drained by opinions that don't deserve even a second of their energy. But when you free yourself from this cycle, you unlock a level of tranquility that most people never even realize is possible. This isn't about letting others walk over you. It's not about staying silent when your voice is needed. It's about knowing the difference between what deserves your energy and what doesn't. It's about recognizing that not every battle is worth fighting, and not every opinion is worth addressing. Buddhism teaches that suffering doesn't come from what happens to us. It comes from how we respond, and that is where your true power lies. When you stop engaging in meaningless conflicts, when you stop letting others dictate your emotional world, when you realize that you need no one's validation to feel at peace, that's when you truly become free. So I invite you to take this practice into your daily life. The next time someone tries to pull you into an argument, pause. The next time you feel the urge to react, ask yourself, is this worth my peace? If the answer is no, choose to walk away. Choose your well-being over the fleeting satisfaction of proving a point. Choose calmness over chaos. And if you've made it this far, I want to hear from you. Share in the comments one phrase, one sentence, one insight that you're taking with you today. Maybe it's a teaching from this video. Maybe it's your own realization. But let it be a reminder to stay centered, to protect your energy, to remain grounded in your own peace. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Every week, we explore ideas, insights, and timeless wisdom to help you cultivate a life of peace, presence, and true inner strength. And if you know someone who struggles with conflict, who reacts too quickly, who gets pulled into negativity, share this with them. Because sometimes, a simple shift in perspective is all it takes to change everything. Thank you for your time, your presence, and your willingness to grow. Until next time, protect your peace, because nothing is more valuable than that.